but that's not quite the case with the rest of the market. What a solid rebound is what you have at your hands. And then, of course, there are names like Indian Hotels as well, which haven't really fallen in the recent market correction and continue to accelerate further. And now you've got this Accelerate 2030 strategy as well, which was unveiled. We're going to be chatting with Puneet Chatwal as well just shortly on the show. They're going to be focusing on new brands, new segments, industry-leading margins and returns is what they're aiming at for 2030. They're looking at doubling their portfolio, 700 plus hotels, the ROCE to be about 20% plus range, and 2x growth in the consolidated revenue is what they're targeting for 2030. That stock holding up very, very smartly. And today, of course, the move in the market is accelerated. Autos are doing very well. M&M, Tata Motors, both those stocks holding out very well. A trend after the recent correction in the stock price, that's rebounded about 2.5% as well. There's Titan, which is looking good. HDFC Bank is powering ahead by 2%. And then IT, which was actually a laggard yesterday, those stocks as well rebounding quite nicely. Nischal Maheshwari on the show. And of course, we'll have our chartists as well shortly join in. Nischal, hi, afternoon. Does it seem like we're at least close to a durable bottom? And does it seem like today's rebound looks meaningful?
Hi, afternoon, Aisha. I think for the moment, because market was so oversold for the last 7 or 8 days, we were in the negative. I think this is more of a rebound rally, basically, which I see. Whether it's going to sustain or not, I think if you look at it, none of the fundamental reasons have changed. The dollar still continues to remain as strong as ever. There is a bit of uncertainty in the US policies, basically, because still the new president comes into in mid-Jan. I don't think so we are going to have a very much clarity on the policies. And then we have a higher inflation in the US. So I think these are some of the concerns basically which are there and which weigh over the market. So I think this is more of a temporary bounce back which we are seeing. I don't think so that bottom has yet been formed.
Okay, bottom perhaps has not been formed, but maybe close by. Kunal is there to perhaps decode that for us. Kunal, what's your sense? A bit of a green on the screen today. Is this something which is going to be durable?
I'm not sure whether it's going to be durable, but yeah, I think it's a decent bounce, and it's a bounce which the markets probably thought that it could be a bit more anticipated because of the way the indicators were oversold. So a couple of days back, I was mentioning that how the market breadth was extremely oversold. There was almost 85% of the stocks in the Nifty 50 mid cap, Nifty 50, mid cap 50, as well as small cap 50, which were trading below their major moving averages, whether it's short term 20 DMAs or 50 DMAs, and in many cases even 100 to 200 moving averages for few indices. So when you have such kind of an oversold market breadth, the market gets back into a process of a bounce. Now, in the process of a bounce, the markets come back into a strong psychological zone in terms of resistances. For example, 23,500 now acts as a more of a support for the index over the near term, and the major resistance which the index should face should be closer to that 24,000 mark. Same would be the case for Bank Nifty. We saw the index trying to come back to that 51,000 levels, but unable to break past about that zone. There has been call writing which is evident at the 51,000 mark for Bank Nifty. So which means now we are looking at 51,000 as a resistance for Bank Nifty. So when you have such kind of a market dynamics, we expect that the markets would probably get back into a retest of the resistance. But how soon and how quickly the markets can break past about those resistances is something which I think we can just about wait and see.
Wait and watch. That's the word coming in from Kunal. But yes, at least for now there's green on the screen and can't really complain much. Nischal, today it's M&M which is actually doing quite well. This morning CLSA had come out with a note talking about how they're maintaining their leadership. They have a slew of launches lined up. What's your sense in this stock, or is there any other that you prefer within the four-wheeler category?
No, I think M&M has done pretty well basically. I think not only their PV but also even on the tractor side. I think they have guided for a decent turnaround in the coming 2 quarters. So valuation-wise, also M&M seems to be in a good zone. So I think M&M is a strong candidate there. But I prefer Tata Motors. The correction has been much more severe, and then there is a corporate event which is lined up, basically the splitting of the company. So I also gives you fairly good value basically at these prices. So I think investors can take their pick. My pick remains to be Tata Motors.
Tata Motors, M&M, what's looking stronger and what's looking like a buy right now?
So I think two new additions, Eicher Motors and Ashok Leyland. Actually, these are the two stocks which have, confirmed breakout of sorts on the short-term charts. In fact, Eicher Motors is now very close towards the life high levels of 5100, 5150 mark. And the stock has been more sideways. So when you see a stock which is a lot more resilient and doesn't correct with the entire sector or show signs of weakness, then that's a stock which generally gets to get into a breakout first. Ashok Leyland also, I think today the fact that the stock has come back above its long-term averages and it's confirmed a swing breakout, and something which I think not many of the auto stocks have actually confirmed. Even though of course M&M has also seen a bounce from its previous swing lows of 2750, 2800 levels, but I believe that the charts for Ashok Leyland so far, at least in terms of momentum, the volume built up, the indicator positioning, I think that's also quite strong. So maybe I think we could be looking at a phase where the previous leaders of the previous leg of rally for the auto stocks, they could probably take a bit of a pause, and you might see new stocks emerging. I think in that case, Eicher Motors and Ashok Leyland are the two important ones.
Sure. But is the selling going to arrest itself now in Tata Motors?
Doesn't look like, because when a stock gets into such a kind of a sharp correction, even after there is a process of a bounce, there is an eventual retest of the previous swing lows. That determines that whether the stock holds on to that support, or whether you are looking at a durable bottom as well as maybe a correction further for the stock. So right now, that sub 800 levels is a zone where Tata Motors has fallen down to. There could be a process of a bounce. You might see maybe a 30-40 point bounce for the stock, but then an eventual retest of that 770, 760 mark is what could determine a major bottom in place. So as of now, it doesn't look like that a major bottom is in place.
Okay, not a major bottom in place yet for Tata Motors. There could be more selling in the pipeline. Look at Ashok Leyland and Eicher Motors in case you want to play the auto pack. Let's look at what's happening with air traffic as well. GMR Airports came out with its monthly traffic data. It's an uptick of about almost 5% in the month of October. They're saying they handled more than 10.7 million passengers across all of their airports. And that's an uptick of almost 9.25% on a year-on-year basis. This is both for international as well as domestic passengers. And then there is Interglobe Aviation. Goldman Sachs has come out with a note. They're maintaining the buy target price of 4,800, which is indicative of almost a 21% upside to yesterday's close. They're talking about October-November air traffic growth at 10 to 11%. They're saying that the PLF as well has grown. The November ticket fares for Interglobe Aviation domestic fares are down. December fares are also down right now. And Indigo has continued to expand its fleet size. So they're pretty hopeful of this. But Nischal, what's the best way of playing this entire tourism and, boom, so to speak, and travel boom, of course? Is it going to be via airports, airplanes, or would you stick by with hotels?
I think hotels have done pretty well. Basically, they are still doing, and you are now getting into a season, at least for the next 2 quarters, where the tourism season for tourists coming from abroad is the best time for India. So I think at least for the next 2 quarters, hotels, and along with that, the wedding season, I think hotels is the best way to play. The second thing obviously remains to be airlines. Yesterday, I think first time India, the number has been 5 lakh passengers on a single day, basically. So I think that's a good number basically to start with. And a third way basically could be the luggage sector. That's another sector basically which has done okay till now basically, and I think going ahead could be a good one to play through.
So that's a take coming in as far as some of these consumption and travel related consumption is concerned. But what about the BPC related consumption, Nischal? And I'm talking about the numbers that we got from Honasa and the kind of dropping it's seen over the last couple of days. And it looks like an isolated case because Nykaa's numbers weren't as bad. Do you track this one? Do you have a view on either the stock or the category?
Yeah, personally, I own it. So I just as a declaration. I'm disappointed with the last quarter numbers because a quarter back commentary was not as bad as the numbers have come out. I think basically There are two issues which is the company is facing. Obviously, one was the inventory clearances, basically because they are moving from online to offline. That is one part of it. The second thing I think, and the more worrying part of it is the main brand Mamaearth, basically that is sort of degrown. And that's a big issue basically because that was growing pretty well and suddenly it has just fallen off the cliff. Now, during the call, the explanation was not very clear and the management was still trying to grapple with how to come out of it. So I'm pretty confident they will find a way out. Overall, I continue to believe BDC is still in a good spot. I do not see maybe a quarter or two. Consumptions are low basically, and that's why the whole sector is going through a bit of a turbulence. The problem is with the FMCG, the staples basically, and not with the BDC part. So I would be worried on the staples company rather than the BDC. I think maybe a quarter or two, and we will be out of this issue.
Okay, that's the take coming in on Honasa.
It is in the green, but yes, considerably off the highest point. Nagaraj Shetty also joins us on the show right now to talk to us about the market fundamentals. Nagaraj, today the banking index is seeing a bit of an outperformance of sorts in the sense that the private banking names are doing okay today. HDFC Bank was one of the outperformers, 2% gain coming in there. Federal Bank is 4% higher. What's the view on these select banking names?
Hi, good afternoon. Bank Nifty has witnessed a decent bounce back recently after a sharp fall. The overall chart pattern is indicating the recent downward correction and the downside breakout seems to be false right now. And I'm expecting some more upside bounce in the banking stock, especially Axis, ICICI banks are looking at the very attractive, and SBI as well. They are placed at the support and more upside is likely in these counters as well.
Right. Other than that, Nagaraj, what trends are you picking up within the auto pack?
Automobile, Mahindra and Mahindra and Tata Motors are looking positive. Tata Motors, after the decent correction, placed at the good support and bounce back as well in today's session. I'm expecting from this oversold level, one may expect some sizable upside bounce in Tata Motors, as well as that Mahindra and Mahindra is also poised in a good place to show some decent bounces.
Okay, so M&M is one stock which is showing a decent amount of bounce at this point of time. Let's take a look at some of the other buzzers as well. Newgen Software has suddenly spiked 9%. Kirloskar Brothers has been holding quite well. Z Entertainment is just excited by that news that Mr. Goenka is going to step down as the MD, but he is going to continue as the CEO. So not really sure of what's happening there. Delivery is the other one which has been doing well. But the stock that I wanted to talk about right now, Nischal, is Varun Beverages. And I mean, we should pull up a 1-month chart or a 5-day chart of Varun Beverages. Since its earnings and the fact that they have made a couple of more acquisitions, that stock has been on fire in an otherwise weak market setup. What's the sense that you're getting on Varun Beverages? Because at one point of time, there was that entire clamor around increased competition and how Campa Cola is causing a bit of disruption, but not really impacting this stock that much. Up what, 48% in 1 month? Oh, sorry, 8% in 1 month.
So I think it's a fairly strong business, and I think Campa and all still, if you really look at it, it's only in a few states and down south. So to really challenge Varun Beverages, I think it'll take a bit of time. I think the other positive news on Varun is basically that they have got another market, I think South Africa, which is also going to be now in Varun Beverages fold. So I think that is what is driving the markets, basically, driving the share price for Varun.
Right. Let's just take a look at banks. Federal Bank, of course, has been hitting fresh highs. Today as well, it's higher by about 4.5%. HDFC Bank has made a meaningful comeback, about a 2% uptick coming in there as well. And then, of course, SBI as well has been giving it due support. That stock also holding up as we speak right now. Axis 1% higher. Kotak also looking up in trade. Flat for ICICI Bank though. Kunal, make the chart comparison for us. HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank, which has a sort of higher move poised in basis the charts in the near term?
I think HDFC Bank stands out over there. So there's been a relative outperformance from HDFC Bank as well as ICICI Bank as compared to the other peers. But when you try and make a price comparison between these two, then I think HDFC Bank over the very recent time frame, the last 2-3 weeks specifically, I think has been trying to come back very close towards the previous highs. 70.90.94 approximately is the previous highs for HDFC Bank. This could be the third or the fourth attempt for the stock to break past about those levels. But what's very interesting as a change for HDFC Bank is the correlation with respect to the Bank Nifty moves. So, for example, today the Bank Nifty is higher by some 400-500 points, but the price for ICICI Bank is on the negative side, and we've seen this pattern for the last many days. That ICICI Bank as a correlative stock has the correlation has gone down for ICICI Bank as compared to HDFC Bank. And now, when you see that kind of a divergence at play, we generally expect that the stock is getting back into a zone of consolidation, is not getting ready for a breakout anytime soon, unless the stock breaks past about the first major resistance, which is at 1285 mark for ICICI Bank. I would actually believe that HDFC Bank stands a higher chance of breaking past about the previous highs, and in fact even crossing about the lifetime high levels of 70-90 approximately.
Nischal, is there merit in believing what the charts are indicating right now? Could the leadership within the private banking names have changed to HDFC Bank versus ICICI Bank after what, I think almost 3.5 years?
If you really look at it, I think the banking industry, HDFC Bank has been the leader. Yes, I think on the stock markets, ICICI Bank has been the leader for the last 2 or 3 years. But having said that, I think HDFC has underperformed for a long time now, almost 2 years. And it is time basically, because I think the numbers have been very, very strong in the last now, 2 or 3 quarters now. They have been delivering as analyst expectation or even beating analyst expectation. So I'm pretty confident basically. My money is on HDFC Bank actually to outperform.
So take coming in as far as the banking sector is concerned. For now, we're holding on to the green for the markets, doing pretty okay for the broader markets as well. And the Bank Nifty, holding on to that gain of around 0.8%. Though Nifty has come off a bit from the highest point of the day. A short break and we'll be right back with more.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.